This is Shanmugapriya. Today we will be seeing in detail about GenScan tool, and with regard to it we will be seeing about the structure of eukaryotic gene. Let's first know what is gene prediction. Gene prediction or gene finding is the process of identifying genes on a genomic DNA. It can be done both in silico and in wet lab. Let's concentrate on in silico based method. The two main methods are ab initio based method and homology based method. In ab initio based method, only the submitted sequence is taken, and based on two things, that is gene signals and gene content, a gene is marked on a genomic DNA. Here, gene signals refers to start and stop codons, intron splice site signals, transcription factor binding sites, etc. Whereas gene content refers to the difference in composition and statistical distribution of nucleotide sequences in coding regions and in the non-coding regions. Example, codon bias. This refers to the differences in the frequency of occurrence of synonymous codons in coding DNA. Based on this, the distribution of nucleotide sequences will be easily differentiated from coding regions and non-coding regions. Next one is homology based method. Here, the given DNA sequence is aligned with cDNA sequences or EST sequences in database, and if similarity is found, the gene prediction is done. Or when a DNA sequence is given, it will be translated into protein sequence and it will be searched against protein and protein family databases. If similar sequence is found in the protein database, then the portion which is translated will be marked as the gene on a given genomic DNA sequence. Next is consensus based method. This is the method which many of the current tools use. It combines both ab initio based and homology based method, and hence the accuracy is more. GenScan is an ab initio based gene prediction tool. It predicts genes in eukaryotic genome, particularly of human and other vertebrates, plants, Arabidopsis and maize, and in invertebrates, Drosophila. As this tool predicts genes only in eukaryotic genome, let's see about eukaryotic DNA and genes. DNA is the genetic material in the eukaryotic cell which is found inside the nucleus. It exists as many thread-like structures. These thread-like structures, they replicate during cell division, and along with the sister chromatids which are formed and with many proteins, they form a thick X-shaped structures called chromosomes. And this is the form of chromosome what we observe under microscope. DNA along with some proteins fold to form a chromosome structure. The DNA is a double helix structure formed of two polynucleotide chain. The monomer of each chain is a nucleotide. Monomer is a single unit. So this single unit is repeated to form a chain. So here the nucleotide is made of phosphate group, nitrogenous base and a deoxyribose sugar. So here if you see, the deoxyribose sugar and the phosphate group, they form the backbone of DNA. The nitrogenous bases of both the chains base pair with each other to keep the two chains intact and form a double helix structure. Base pairing is forming hydrogen bond between the nitrogenous bases. There are four types of nitrogenous bases: adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, which are indicated by different colors here. So now this DNA coils around proteins called histone. So these histone proteins now along with the two turns of DNA make up the nucleosome. Nucleosome structures on a DNA strand, we call it as bead-on string structure. This bead-on string structure now coils around to form a solenoid form here. This solenoid form along with some scaffold proteins which give support called as scaffold proteins. So along with some scaffold proteins, now they coil, they fold tightly and then they form a chromosome structure which we generally observe under a microscope. So we have seen a nucleotide, the monomer of the DNA, it has a phosphate group, a deoxyribose sugar and a nitrogenous base. Nitrogenous base are of four types, and A, G, C and T are the letters, single letter codes which represent them. Now as phosphate group and this sugar form the backbone of DNA, only these nitrogenous bases, they differ in a chain. Generally a DNA sequence will be represented by this nitrogenous bases only. And here when we know that DNA strand is a double stranded structure, but when we write the sequence of DNA, only a single strand sequence is written. So here which is from 5' to 3' is only given as a DNA sequence. So now we know about the structure of DNA. Let's see about genes on DNA. So on a DNA, the regions which give rise to any type of RNA are called as genes. RNA like mRNA, tRNA, rRNA, siRNA, snRNA, etc. So of these mRNAs, only mRNA codes for a protein. And so genes which give rise to mRNA are called as protein encoding genes. All other RNAs except mRNA, all other RNAs, they are called as non-coding RNAs because they don't give rise to protein. And the genes which give rise to these RNAs are called as RNA genes. The GenScan tool identifies only protein encoding genes. So let's see about these protein encoding genes. These are some protein encoding genes on DNA. In a eukaryotic genome, the number of protein encoding genes are very few, means the region occupied by the genes is very meager. In humans, only 1% of DNA are protein encoding genes. The genes on DNA are separated by intergenic regions. Intergenic regions are the region between two genes. And here in a gene we can see three main parts. One is promoter region, intron region and exon region. Now these intron regions are called as intragenic regions. So these introns and the intergenic regions are called as non-coding regions. Only these exons are called as coding regions. Here you can see there are two types of genes. One is single exon gene where only a single exon is found, and then there are multi-exon genes where you can see many exons. So now let's see about the structure of the protein encoding gene. This gene gives rise to mRNA by a process called transcription. The first formed mRNA is called as pre-mRNA or naive mRNA. It undergoes post-transcription modification to form mature mRNA. And this one gives rise to protein by a process called translation. RNA polymerase binds to this promoter region along with some transcription factors, and then they start the transcription process. The place where they bind, we call it as promoter region. And then what we see is when pre-mRNA is formed and when it undergoes a process to form a mature mRNA, some portions are removed. We call those regions as intron regions. So these introns are spliced out and the exons come together to form the mature mRNA. Also, during this post-transcription modification, polyadenylation occurs. It occurs at a site where poly A signal is found. That is what we mark here as poly A tail signal. We see a region called 5-UTR and 3-UTR on either ends. Okay. So here UTR is untranslated region. These regions are transcribed to form the mRNA, but they are not translated when the protein formation occurs. So here this 5-UTR region contains sequences for ribosome binding. During translation, ribosome has to bind and then they have to form the protein. So when the ribosome binds at this ribosome binding site, it will start translation at the start codon. Usually ATG is the start codon, which codes for methionine, and stop codon is the place where translation ends. Next is 3-UTR region. Here you have poly A tail signal sequence as well as termination signals for translation and the binding regions for miRNA and regulatory proteins. So this is the process of transcription where RNA polymerase binds to a DNA strand and forms mRNA. Here if you see the strand from which the mRNA is formed, you call it as template strand. Also it is called as minor strand or the antisense strand. And the DNA strand opposite to it, you call it as non-template strand, and it is called as plus strand, sense strand and coding strand. Why? Because when you see here, when mRNA is formed, it will form the complementary base to what is there in the template strand. So this will be similar to the sequence whichever is there in the coding strand. Only so this is called as antisense strand, and this is called a sense strand. So this is mRNA formed from transcription. Here you see uracil instead of diamine. Uracil is represented by a single letter code U. And then here 3 bases together form a codon which will code for a single amino acid. 3 bases together form a codon. So here is the translation process. A ribosome binds to the mRNA, and tRNA, which carries an amino acid and has 3 bases at this end, will recognize the complementary bases in the mRNA, and it will leave its amino acid here. So these amino acids, when the tRNA comes one by one, these amino acids will be joined by the peptide bond and a protein chain will be formed. So now let's see to the tool. Type GenScan in search and open this link. This is the display of the tool. To know more information about this, you can click over this link. Let's see about all the options over here. So this tool can predict genes more accurately in organisms like all vertebrates and in plants, particularly Arabidopsis and maize. And here the suboptimal exon cutoff, the default value is 1. Let's see about what is suboptimal exons later. We'll just see to this criteria what has to be set up. Here, as the default value is 1, there will be no suboptimal exons displayed. It is advised to choose 0.10. It is because less than this will lead to many false positives, and greater than this can lead to many false negatives. So not to miss any suboptimal exons, it is advisable to set the value to 0.10. Sequence name optional, so anything can be entered over here. In print options you have two choices, predicted peptides only and predicted CDS and peptide. CDS is coding sequence. So here default is predicted peptides only. So your DNA sequence can be submitted by either choosing a file from here, or you can paste the sequence over here and you can run GenScan. Before working in this tool, let's first see a sample output and see how to understand the output format. This is an example of GenScan tool output. Here you can see all the parameters and the detailing of the parameters is displayed over here. First thing what you see is gene number and exon number. Here 1 indicates the first gene. If suppose in a submitted DNA sequence, if 3 genes are there, here you will be seeing following 1, 2 and then 3. Next what you see is exon number. Exon number is number of exons predicted in that gene. Now here there are 3 exons which are predicted in the first gene. To understand these parameters, we will first see what are signals in a gene. So here we have already seen a gene structure. We know it has a promoter region, exons and introns. Also we have seen what is transcription start site and poly A tail signal. The first exon is always called as initial exon and the last exon is terminal exon. Other exons which are between them, you call them as internal exons. The start codon in a gene is indicated as initiation signal in GenScan tool. Similarly, the stop codon as termination signal. Each intron has on its 5' end a donor splice site and on the 3' end acceptor splice site. These are the conserved sequences in a DNA sequence by which these signals can be detected. So here initiation signal we know it is ATG, termination is TAA, TAG and TGA, donor splice site GT, acceptor splice site AG. You can see here, and promoter region is marked by Tata box or initiation site sequences, and poly A tail you have this conserved sequence here. Now let's see what are the signals by which the type of exon is determined. An initial exon has initiation signal at its 5' end, this one, and then a donor splice site at its 3' end. All internal exons will be having on its 5' end acceptor splice site and on the 3' end donor splice site. A terminal exon will be having on its 5' end acceptor splice site signal and 3' end a termination signal. If it is a single exon gene, we have already seen about a single exon gene. If it is a single exon, it will be having initiation signal in the beginning and termination signal to its end. Let's see about DNA strands. The submitted sequence is always considered as the positive strand or the plus strand. Occurrence of gene structure will be searched first in this strand and the predicted gene structure will be displayed. Next, the complementary of the submitted sequence will be taken, and now this will be called as negative strand or minus strand. So here the occurrence of gene structure will also be searched and it will be displayed in the results. FR refers to reading frame. Let's see about it. As a codon is made up of 3 nucleotide sequence, a given input sequence will be divided into 3 codons, and then it will be searched for signals to mark the exon regions. So here dividing of these sequences will be done in 3 frames, 0, 1, 2, and in the complementary strand, in the negative strand, it will be again searched for the exon signals and exons in the 3 frames. So we say it searches in 6 frames. So here you can see it can be divided as 3 nucleotides like this, each representing a codon. An example is given over here. You can see codon codes for a particular amino acid. So here with the particular sequence, in the first frame you can see the amino acids to which they code. Second frame refers to leaving the first nucleotide sequence, and rest of the sequences are divided into 3 sequences. Third frame refers to leaving the first 2 nucleotide sequence, and then the rest of the sequence is divided into 3 nucleotides. Here an RNA sequence is given, so you see U instead of T. To know which frame has been used, detect the signal can be known from this formula. Frame used is X mod 3. A codon ending at X is in frame F is equal to X mod 3. Here you have an input DNA sequence and the codon is marked over here. The codon ends at 14. So 14 divided by 3, remainder is 2, mod value is 2. So it means the codon is found in frame 2. Now let's consider a single exon from the result page. So this exon is initial exon and this is the first exon in the first gene predicted. It is predicted in the positive strand. Next, it begins at 1884 and ends at 2070 and the length is 187. Here, as it is an initial exon, we can now understand that the ATG sequence, initiation signal, was seen at this nucleotide sequence 1884, and downstream of it there is a donor splice site. So, donor splice site will occur in intron region. So, before this, it is marked as the exon region. So, now here the length of this is 187. Now phase, which is shown over here, is 187 divided by 3. 3 refers to the number of nucleotides in a codon. The remainder is 1, mod value. So mod value is given as phase over here. So we come to know that one single nucleotide sequence is not included in the codon. I think that a proper exon prediction will be having phase 0. As one nucleotide sequence is left over here, we can now know that the codon ends at 2069, one nucleotide before. So now frame refers to this 2069 divided by 3. The remainder is 2. So this mod value is given over here. So next is about coding region score. Based on the differences in composition and statistical distribution of nucleotides, coding region and the non-coding region will be differentiated. So based on that, for the predicted region, the score will be given. For example, hexamer frequency. To say in an organism, many proteins which are coded by it will be having 2 amino acids always seen together. So when you say 2 amino acids, they are coded by 2 codons. 2 codons means you have 6 nucleotides. So these nucleotides will be seen always together and it will be seen more in the coding regions. So that they call it as hexamer frequency. So the distribution of these nucleotides will be different when you compare the coding region and the non-coding region. And before this we have seen codon bias. So based on all these criteria, the coding region and the non-coding region will be differentiated, and based on that the score will be given. So the score of initiation signal or acceptor signal score, donor splice site or termination signal score, and this coding region score. These scores, if it is more than 100, the prediction is excellent. 50 to 100 is acceptable, 0 to 50 is weak, and below 0 is poor. So here what we see is they are in the acceptable range, and the coding region score is excellent. This one, if you see, this is weak, but the coding region score is excellent here. Next thing is probability. So probability of a predicted exon, if it is more than 0.95, it is more reliable and correct. Total score is the exon score, which depends on the length, all these signals, and then coding region score. So based on the signal score, the coding region score, and the probability, we can now see whether the predicted region is reliable or not. So based on this, we can draw the structure of the gene predicted. So here, assuming that the submitted sequence is 4000 nucleotide in length, we can mark the initial exon, the beginning and the end of it. Similarly, the terminal exon and the poly A tail. Always poly A tail will be of 6 nucleotide in length. We have seen the signal sequences AAT, AAA. So this is how the output of the GenScan tool can be analyzed and the structure of the gene can be drawn. So now let's talk about suboptimal exons. Those are predicted exons which have an acceptable score, and even they are the probability is also high, but they are not in the order of the gene structure. We know that initial exon will be always followed by internal exon, and then the terminal exon, and then the poly A signal will come. Suppose, for example, if an internal exon is seen between a terminal exon and a poly A signal, that you call it as an suboptimal exon because it is not in the order of the gene structure. So these type of conditions occur due to situations like overlapping genes, alternative splicing issues, and many other things like that. So now let's go to NCBI, and from nucleotide database retrieve a gene sequence in the FASTA format, copy it and paste it over here and run the tool. So this is the result displayed. So here date and time can be known, the number of bases submitted, what is the percentage of GC content, and based on the GC content the ISO score number will be given. The matrix which was used by the tool is given over here, and this is the predicted exon region. So the sequence submitted has only a single exon and a poly A tail region is predicted. As the suboptimal exon probability was kept in its default value greater than 1, there are no suboptimal exons predicted, and for the exon predicted, the translated peptide sequence is given. So now let's see this result in detail. So in the submitted sequence, there is a single gene with 2 exon regions predicted. So one is single exon and other is poly A signal. So both are seen in the positive stand. The beginning and the end of these regions are given and the length is mentioned. Always poly A tail region will be having a length of 6. So the first exon is predicted in frame 2 and then phase 0. Phase 0 indicates that all the nucleotide sequence in this exon form the codon. And next is, as this is a single exon gene, this score belongs to initiation signal and this score belongs to termination signal. The initiation signal score is very high, saying it's an excellent prediction, whereas the termination signal is little weak. Next, coding region score is very high, indicating it is an excellent prediction. Next is the probability is more than 0.95. So this exon prediction is reliable and accurate. As we know the length of sequence submitted, we can now mark the exon regions predicted. So the beginning and end of single exon can be known, and then the poly A tail signal can be marked over here. This is how GenScan tool can be used to predict gene structures in given DNA sequence. Thank you for listening to this video on GenScan tool. If you like this, kindly subscribe to my channel.